Rapper arrested. A night in Miami landing Polo G behind bars after a confrontation with police. The rising star was pulled over during a traffic stop when things allegedly escalated into violence.
Rapper Polo G was arrested early Wednesday morning while police searched his home in Los Angeles.
Oh, the fucking U.S. Marshals got my house surrounded. They got my fucking house surrounded, gang. What the fuck?
A spokesperson for the LAPD told sources that 4 robbery suspects were detained at approximately 8:30 a.m. at a home in Chatsworth, California that was listed as the rapper's current home address. The LAPD spokesperson said police had arrived at the property with a search warrant. Photos obtained by TMZ show Polo G, born Taurus Bartlett, with his arms raised outside his property and him being handcuffed by officers in front of a police vehicle. Polo G's lawyer Bradford Cohen told the outlet, "Polo is being held under the guise that the police department needs to double-check that he is not a convicted felon, as there was a purported firearm found in the home. He is not, and never was, a convicted felon. Any previous charges he had got dismissed, and it's all public record." According to the attorney, police are denying Cohen and his legal partner, Zoe Aaron, access to him while he is being illegally detained. Cohen also said in a statement to hip-hop magazine XXL, the incident surrounded someone staying in Polo's home, and not Polo directly. The officers have detained Polo to verify that he is not a convicted felon, as they assert a firearm was found in the home. It is widely known that Polo is not a convicted felon and never was a convicted felon. I personally got all his charges in Miami dismissed when he was, in our opinion, wrongfully arrested and charged. They have refused to allow us access to our client, which is also an illegal and unethical practice, and someone will have to answer for these new wrongful actions, the statement concluded. So, as you can see, there are some serious allegations and accusations going on here, and Polo G's team is bent on making it seem like the police have it 100% wrong with what's going on. The 24-year-old rap star rapper was arrested once before in June 2021 in Miami following a traffic stop, just one day after the release of his album Hall of Fame.
Laren Encinella, well, I just got a chance to speak to the driver of Polo G, and he tells me the rapper was on his way to a performance for an album release party when he was pulled over for having dark tinted windows of the vehicle that he was in. But officers say it is what he did next that landed himself and several others behind bars.
According to online jail records, Polo G was booked around 8:45 a.m. and charged with 3 felonies: battery of a police officer threatening to harm a public servant and resisting a police officer with violence. He was also charged with 2 misdemeanors, resisting a police officer without violence and criminal mischief. He was later released on bond, records show. The car Polo G was in was initially pulled over around 12:30 a.m. for an unspecified traffic infraction, the Miami Herald reported, citing a police report. He then allegedly ended up in a struggle with police officers and struck one in the head, multiple times, according to the outlet.
Yo!
You got the option?
Stop. You broke as hell. I definitely.
Oh, here we go about the broke and about the money. Oh my God.
Broski, you broke. I'm just saying, you got $10,000 in your bank account right now. You got $10,000 in your bank account. I'm just saying, bro, because if you die right now, what could you give your kid? If you die right now, what could you give the lady that you in bed with? What could you give to your mama? Have you ever bought your mama anything?
Yeah, Mother's Day.
Did you buy your mama a car? Did you buy your mama a house? I did that. I did both of those.
Was it good for you, bro? I'm glad you did that.
His mother, Stacia Mack, later shared on Twitter that Polo G was in the passenger seat of the car when pulled over, claiming that the charges against him would not have occurred without the police first making contact. "None of these charges would be possible if the police did not make contact with my son Polo G," she wrote. "He was not the driver. He was a passenger in a professionally licensed vehicle with security. He was moving smart and correctly. What more could he have done?" Going back to the present situation, you might recall that the incident was allegedly not about Polo G, but his brother. That turns out to be factual.
And they stopped them because they were driving while black. Let's keep in mind that they were driving in a licensed vehicle with security and a driver, okay? He wasn't even the person driving. Do you know how scary that is?
According to police, Torian Bartlett, the 18-year-old younger brother of the distraction performer and himself a rapper using the name Trench Baby, robbed a fellow musician at gunpoint on UG 15. Trench Baby invited the robbery victim to the block of Clydesdale Avenue in Granada Hills, and when the victim arrived at about 5 p.m, Trench Baby pulled out a handgun with an extended magazine and demanded that the victim transfer money to an unknown account over a money transfer service, police said in a news release. The victim was in fear and complied. The suspect also demanded the victim empty his pockets, police added. said. Eventually, the police got the warrant and raided the home of Polo G and Trench Baby. The two brothers were then taken into custody and numerous firearms were recovered from both locations and a vehicle registered to Taurus Bartlett, police said. A photo released by police shows what appears to 7 firearms, including a pair of assault rifles and a drum magazine for a pistol. Polo G faces a charge of possession of a short-barreled rifle, while Trench Baby was arrested for robbery. Police also allege they found a small baggie of unknown drugs on Trench Baby's person as he was about to be booked into jail. Now, you might have also noticed that we said he was charged with kidnapping, and that comes from a separate source, but that might have been an exaggeration of the situation in various ways. For now, the main charges are the robbery and alleged assault, along with the potential illegal firearms that were found in their home. All of these are serious charges and could easily result in jail time. That's why the bond was set so high, among other reasons. There's obviously a lot of investigating left to go on, as we don't know the full extent of both crimes, whether there were crimes committed and what punishments may be dished out to both. An irony of this is that while one rapper is potentially about to go thrown into a major legal battle, one is on the brink of being released after a multi-year court battle. We're talking about YNW Melly, who was arrested in 2018 for the death of 2 of his music brothers, and due to the global pandemic, had to wait 5 years to finally be put on trial. And once it went to the jury, things didn't go as expected. After jurors deliberated for roughly 2 days, a mistrial was declared in the double murder case of YNW Melly, aka Jamel Demons. He was accused of murdering his friends, YNW Juvie and YNW Sackchaser, in October of 2018. The decision came after the jury was unable to come to a unanimous verdict. The term for that is hung jury, as it means that some people didn't agree with the rest, and thus everything was hung up. It doesn't usually happen in high-profile cases like this, and yet here we are. Before Circuit Court Judge John Murphy excused the jury, he thanked them for their service. Our system doesn't work without getting people from the community to come in here and listen to the facts of the case and make these types of decisions, he said. They are hard decisions. We appreciate you gave us the time. The afternoon of the verdict, following multiple requests to see evidence and testimony a second time, Judge John Murphy III read a letter asking what would be the outcome if they could not come to a decision. Everyone is stuck on what side they've chosen, the letter read. After discussing an Allen charge, where the judge would request the minority in the group to reconsider their decision, Judge Murphy asked the jury to go back and deliberate one more time, and if they still couldn't come to a verdict, then he would declare it a mistrial. After looking over more evidence, the jury still could not come up with a unanimous decision. That says a lot, as the prosecution was certain in its case, especially as they relayed closing arguments. From the start, the prosecution was doing everything possible to ensure that the people of the jury knew that even without certain evidence, they could still make a case that YNW Melly killed his 2 former friends. And when closing arguments dropped, their thoughts hadn't changed. Back when you first started here, some of you as early as April 10th, you agreed to follow the law, and the law is clear that this defendant committed 2 counts of first-degree murder, Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley told the jury. The overall picture puts Mr. Demons in the back seat of that Jeep, added. It puts him holding a gun. You don't need a murder weapon to know he committed these 2 crimes. The relatives of Demons and the 2 murder victims, Christopher Juvie Thomas Jr. and Anthony Sackchaser Williams, also listened without interrupting the prosecution or the defense. You folks are going to determine this young man's fate, Attorney Stuart Adelstein, who is representing Demons, told the jury. I suggest to you folks that we have a reasonable doubt that there is a conflict in the evidence and there is a lack of evidence. While it's clear that some of the jury didn't agree that there was a lack of evidence, they also clearly didn't agree there was plenty of evidence to move the case to a sentencing. That's the justice system as it should be. You can't always just take what the defense or prosecution is saying at their word, and thus the jury debates to see if things were explained to their satisfaction. In this it clearly wasn't. As for the current fate of YNW Melly, a retrial could still happen, or he could be set free. Either way, between this, the Polo G case, and other things going on in 2023, the stigma against rappers continues to grow.